All right. So why are you guys here?
Well, I'm doing a discussion with my local Bible club for my school, and they, our high school, Santa Clarita. I came in there with an atheist perspective, and they want my perspective to go up against them. I guess would be to further their faith. They said to further their faith.
Was there any confrontation?
There was a little bit of animosity with a few of the members, but overall it's been perceived very well, and I've been greeted very humbly.
Tell us your story.
I'm his dad. I'm the driver.
Oh, so do you agree or disagree or something?
You know, I grew up Catholic. I'm Catholic.
Die hard.
You know, it's in there. It's in me. So.
What about you?
I work with his dad, but I'm an atheist, so that's why I'm here.
So it's more a much more open-minded sort of thing.
Yeah, it's open-minded. Sure. I know that guy has an answer for you.
All right. So
I'm just here for the free.
so you know, it's this is supposed to be like not necessarily so much an atheist meeting, but more of a advocacy for secularism. Is there anything to add?
No, I'm good.
It's pretty cool.
It's literally on that. Yeah, it's
literally
literally
on that
hill.
hill.
Yeah, it's literally on the hill.
So what's your guys' background?
I'm from Cal State Northridge. We're both from San Diego.
Yeah, both from San Diego. We went to the same high school. Funny story.
Very true. And we both came to LA for entertainment.
Yeah, so I worked production assistant for this internet company called Young Hollywood, and I actually got to interview Neil Patrick Harris and some How I Met Your Mother people with them, so that was a really good experience. And right now I'm production assistant for the show Community with Joel McHale on NBC. So
That's pretty impressive.
No big deal. No big deal. I interned for Clear Channel, big radio company, over the summer, and right now I'm just still in school, singing on the side, but yeah, just having fun right now.
What is your religious background? I have to ask because of the.
No, I'm secularism. I'm all for it. I'm indifferent with religion.
I'm actually so I'm deist, but I don't like to tell people that are super religious that I'm deist, just because they try and work that angle of
right, questioning you.
Yeah, but
the assumption that by default it has to be the Christian God.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, and you're against
my
that,
idea is I'm
Mm-hmm.
against all sorts of defined group religious, but I don't. Yeah, I'm so deist.
It's pretty obvious that this is supposed to be a diverse group of religious people, but all in all, everyone here is secular by definition, because there is that appreciation of the separation of church and state, and
definitely.
And personal religious belief is irrelevant as long as you can work together with people of other beliefs.
Yeah,
I agree.
I completely agree. And also, Jaclyn, her videos attack it, not attacking, but
Make good
usually
points.
they make good points against religion. So I feel like we all, since we appreciate her videos, that's another sign that we're more secular, because we're not here to throw tomatoes.
Yeah, I'm not here to bash. I'm not here for war with war. I'm not into.
We love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's especially that appreciation because of that transition that she went through from being a Christian to being an atheist, and I could say that that's similar to what my experience is. So,
do you watch Mr. Repsion?
Yes,
yeah.
I was about to mention that he went through a similar situation.
No, many do, yeah. And the families either don't accept it or don't. Like Jaclyn was saying, make a point.
And I feel people because Mr. Repsion, he was saying that The Amazing Atheist is who he started watching, and so I feel he's sort of The Amazing Atheist right now is the symbol of atheism for our generation. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Have you ever heard of him or no?
I have. Okay. In the video with even Richard Dawson. Him all of a reason, and he's very important. We need evidence. And, Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, it's a lot more noticeable in the United States because we are still a pretty religious nation.
Definitely, we're Christian. All our presidents have been
Well,
Christian. Yeah.
they've done polls where it says that people won't vote for a president unless they're Christian. But I think that will change in like 20 years. Give it like 20 years.
Yeah, it's been mostly a push that's been done by specifically the religious right because of they want their religion to be dominant. And it's not like most Christians are this offensive. It's just the fact that
The leaders, the people that are representing religion, unfortunately,
Yeah.
very strong beliefs. I'm not saying every religious person's horrible and doesn't believe in this or
Yeah,
that,
and it's
but
weird too
it's
because
just,
they literally like just pick and choose. Like they'll say homosexuality is wrong, but I don't know. What do they do that's bigoted?
I don't know. It's like
everyone's equal, love everyone, but at the same time, it's like pick and choose.
Yeah,
I feel like Bible's a lot of pick and choose.
Because Christianity is, you're a follower of Christ. That's like what the religion's based. They made their religion around Jesus Christ, and the fact that he was the Prince of Peace and he was the most like peaceful person who didn't mention homosexuality at all, and the fact that they will just take that one part of the Bible and just like the Westboro Baptist Church, like going to funerals and like it just infuriates me because Jesus was such a peaceful person that if he could see where his religion is today, he'd be disappointed. I feel like. Sorry, that was a lot.
no. I mean that I agree.
That's a good point, because I don't feel like the Bible's interpretation of Jesus Christ at all. He could have lived, but I don't think it was.
And it was
correct,
like
or the only
the most
interpretation.
accurate parts were written even like 50 plus years after he was dead.
Yeah, the Gospels.
Yeah, the
Old New
Gospels.
Testament.
And that's when they wrote him. They wrote him with the idea that he was already the Messiah, that he was already this great. But like when he was a human, because Reza Aslan, he made a book called Zealot, and he tried to find a historical aspect of Jesus, and he was saying that like these people, like Jesus was like he was like a peasant that rose to power, or whatever. Okay, sorry, I'm going way too off.
No, keep going. You're making good points.
I forgot. Sorry, what were we
No, I mean it's okay to talk about this because it is relevant to the conversation.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people want to just take the whole, I don't know, yeah. I mean, Jesus was the most peaceful person, and people just ripped that apart.
Right, and I feel like it made more sense back then when people didn't have a lot of hope, and
Definitely.
there's so much war, holy war, and now it just doesn't make sense as much.
No, yeah, it doesn't.
Especially
yeah,
some
really
parts in the Bible just don't.
Yeah.
When we talk about rape and
we
abortion,
used the Bible. I mean, not
women's
we.
rights.
I'm not gonna say we because my ancestors were slaves during this time in history.
Yeah.
But the
So were mine.
Spaniards and didn't they use like the Bible, and like they went on these crusades to
Right.
like purify the natives, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
The Bible's like even the Civil War, like
Oh, yeah,
slavery,
the
the Union, the
Confederacy.
Confederacy. Does God think it's right? Just
They
should be a
put it in
moral
their-
thing.
Yeah, like the Confederates
It's-
put it in their constitution or whatever that they made their fake little constitution.
right, like it's
They've
just
used like that slave quote from the Bible
Right,
to justify
I was-
slavery.
My ancestors were Native Americans.
Okay.
And
definitely.
yeah, a lot of the men were put to work and the women were rape victims, and there is that stigma that the whole convert the heathen to Christianity, but it's this whole idea about gay rights is using the Bible as a justification is nothing new. 150 years ago, these Christians were arguing that slavery was not only permissible but moral. That looked repugnant a year later, and then they moved on to segregation. I think Jerry Falwell said that desegregation was against God's plan as a reaction to the Brown versus Board of Education. It's not like Jerry Falwell was just some preacher that stayed in his time. He died into 2007, and he was still very popular. Except the reason he kept being popular is because he never talked about segregation again.
I think this kind of relates to some people who think that like global warming is God's reaction to like abortion, and I don't know if this is jumping off topic too much, but
No, I mean, yeah, it's something that we've heard recently because it used to be, now that they used to be talking about that, global warming couldn't possibly happen because Yahweh made a deal with Noah.
yeah.
And it's evidence that is happening.
And it's like, I mean, even if there was more oxygen in the air, we would be seeing adverse effects. So obviously putting CO2 in the air is doing something. So like the fact that it's intergenerational tyranny. And I heard that, I forgot where I heard that, but I love that saying. It was from a senator, I forgot his name. But
Yeah.
he calls it intergenerational tyranny. And I think it is, because we're just leaving this mess for 2 generations down to have to deal with the rising sea levels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's and now they're beginning to admit that there is global warming, but now they're saying that Yahweh, specifically Yahweh, they're not
It's just that, just him. Yeah.
Judaic gods?
Yahweh is the God of Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Mormonism, and Baha'ism. Yeah, now they're saying that global warming is happening because of abortion and gays.
Yeah, and that's just...
I feel like they're just making reasons, they're not trying to, they're picking everyone else, it's them. But it's just like...
Yeah, and it's like, okay, let's just ignore these
Right.
scientists that have empirical data that
they're
they've been
just blaming other
researching
people.
and taking records of like highs and lows. Let's just ignore all of them and accept this 2,000-year-old book. You know what I don't know. I don't want to be offending. I just don't get it, because it makes more sense to listen to a scientist about global warming than
Then just
try and say that it's God's reaction to
honestly.
abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly politicians. When if you look at the media, whenever they try to interview about global warming, it's usually a politician that they ask, and not an actual scientist.
Yeah, okay, that's another, and I think that's gonna be, we're gonna start to see the Republican Party actually losing seats in the House to Democrats. I mean, I'm kind of just blowing smoke out my ass, but I really do think that either, because there's just no way, because even 51% of, or 55% of young Republicans think that to deny global warming is it's just, there's so much data for it.
Note the fact that a lot of our politicians are really old.
Yeah, I think that has
That has a lot to do with it, and how they're raised has to do with it a lot. A lot of people are conservative; they've been raised in a conservative family. So for these taboo topics to come out, they're kind of just okay, we're not going to deal with them. That's the reason why it's happening, not because people are making mistakes or whatever.
I completely agree, and I don't think it's fair when they try and take over even birth control is
Right.
it's there's honestly, that's why if you ever you honestly, I know this is
Whatever, no, go for it.
If you ever consider it, try and go into politics, because there aren't enough women
There
right
isn't,
now in politics,
especially
and so when men
I will
do
be seen
these
as
things
minority just because of my color. Even if I'm not,
and when
I still will be, and I will threaten a lot of people. I'll be a huge threat to so many people,
it's terrible, and
especially
it's
white men. Yeah,
and it's
very
they want to take
threatening.
birth control out of Obamacare. Let's take Viagra. Let's be
Right.
even. Let's
But no,
take them both out.
No, but Viagra helped me get my boner ready.
But doesn't God want you to when it's
when
God's
you
time
need to,
to?
but women, if they get pregnant, then it's their fault.
Yeah, that's
nothing
their
to say.
fault. Let's just ignore the
It's
man
all them.
that
It's a
other
woman's
mouth that
issue.
to
It didn't
make
take
a
two to
child.
tango. It's them.
It does actually point out something very obvious, is the fact that this goes to my previous point that the God they're arguing with is Yahweh. Because the only leaders you hear is Abrahamic ones. Actually, not even just Abrahamic; it's just to Christians. So it's definitely shows a bias, because it's not. They talk about religious liberty, but they're just taking into account the dominant religion, and this goes to a similar point of creationism. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I honestly, creationism, I just think it's absolutely absurd, because if you build your ideals about the world is 6,000 years old or whatever, and it's just so mind-blowing to me, because I really look forward to the future, and I hope that science can advance us one day so that we can intergalactic travel. And the fact that some people just don't want to, I don't know. I feel like another problem I have with creationism is that I want to believe that there's life somewhere else in the universe at some.
There has to
Yeah,
be.
it's like,
I mean, they found like water like on Mars. Like there has to
be
we can't be
some
that
sort of
small-minded. I think it
exactly.
goes back to people. It's just like it's all about us and no one else.
Exactly.
It's just a small-minded thing, an easy thing to do. You know, it's easy to just close the door and be like, oh, this is what it is.
Exactly.
We're not going to put money or leaders into this. It's easy to do. It's an easy way to go. So.
Well, one of the problems with creation is not the fact that people believe it, but it's the fact that they want to teach it in schools.
Definitely.
That's okay. That's also a huge like. I think I
yeah.
saw something on like being liberal. That's like if you want to poison your kid and set your kid behind, you can do that. But like trying to infect the public schools is just no.
Yeah, and
kids are so young. You know, it's gonna form a brainwashing. You know, if you want them to learn all this crap, then go to like a specialty school or teach them yourself.
Yeah,
it's
go
like
to a
religious,
Christian or
like
Catholic school.
right? Because most kids they'll just take in and not till later will finally make their own decisions, but maybe they won't. So it's just like stick it with the family. Don't make it to public school. And people get bullied. There's a lot of bullying issues if someone believes, like Pledge of Allegiance, even. You know, some people pledge allegiance, other people don't. You know, there's been cases of people being bullied, or you know,
If I knew what I do now, back in elementary
right,
school, I
like
wouldn't
under
say
God,
Pledge of
like
Allegiance. I honestly.
right. And some people are pressured to because they don't want to be
Yeah.
like an outsider. But then some people are like, wait, I actually don't believe in saying under
and, like, why do I have
God.
to pledge my allegiance to a country? What even is a country? It's like it's just land divided by borders.
Right, and
I
it's
don't know,
just confirming Christianity
I actually
again.
do plan on immigrating because if we stay in empire, I don't want to be a part of this empire. I completely hate our like if you travel the world and you say that you're an American, there's just such a negative stigma about being an American because of our history. We have such a dirty history, and we continue to have it. We continue to exploit people in the Middle East, and I just hate it.
to be fair, the typical stereotype of an American is usually someone from the American South.
True. Or like Hollywood, right?
Right, it's like the picket fence, you know, two kids and an American dream. And
You mentioned that the Pledge of Allegiance. It's funny to note that the current Pledge of Allegiance is actually the 5th revision of it, and the under God part wasn't put until 1954.
no, I learned
Yeah,
that,
and
right?
I
It was
learned that about
under
money
in a
too.
money too.
Yeah.
It was a long
people always wanna
time.
be like, oh,
it was
it's-
like the penny, I think, and then
Yeah.
you go into the bills.
But you know what? I was thinking about this the other day, and like if our society, for some random reason, was just to be gone, having "in God" in there would say a lot about where we're at in this time. In this, like, if all they found was our currency or whatever, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it would tell a historian 300 years from now so much about where we were at in this very moment. I'm like kind of looking for the future.
Yeah, it's but yeah, it does say a lot about our society if they the only thing they find is the whole under God thing. And I mentioned the whole under God thing, the Pledge of Allegiance, because I remember several people say this is that we're going downhill because they're taking God out of our money and out of our pledge, when it's not really true. And even if it were true, it's not like it was always there.
No, yeah, okay. I hate that logic too, because even if it was always there, what's wrong with taking it out?
right? It's a bigger
like,
thing
what's-
to take it out than put it in.
It's so, but you know,
Thank you.